Hi. Basically I'm moving to Korea. Yeah. I need to go. Wait a second before I go. It's Editor T here. It's been a few months, but yeah, as I just said, I am moving to Korea. But you're probably wondering what I've been up to in these past few months that I've been MIA, gone, ghosting, if you will. So I have been preparing for Korea, doing a whole bunch of visa applications and paperwork, getting x-rays done, getting blood tests and multiple vaccines. I literally became a human pincushion. I also hung out with my mum. I sunbathed quite a bit. I became a literal glazed donut. I went to Chinatown a few times and I tried to take in as much of London as I possibly could before I left. My friends and I organised a few picnics. And a few days out, I went skateboarding a few times and spent a few days and nights packing. Literally, the night before I flew out, I was up for 48 hours packing and weighing and repacking all my bags. So that's essentially what I've been doing these past 3 months. So now you're all caught up and I guess back to excited Tiana. Yay! I'm moving to Korea, guys. I did it. I told you I was gonna get flued out. I told you. Yeah, I'm currently in the process of moving to Korea right now. All my stuff is packed. I'm literally about to go to the airport in maybe a couple hours. And then yeah, I will be in Korea very soon. But I will definitely show you my entire journey. So I guess, let's go. Hi. So I'm at the airport now and it's surprisingly empty. Like I knew it was going to be empty, but it's surprisingly empty. I'm in arrivals right now. I shouldn't be in arrivals, I should be in departures, but there was no seats in departures because they kind of socially distanced all the seats. So I went to Boots and I bought some food. I haven't eaten today, nor have I slept, so I'm low on energy. I need to be a bit more focused. And my gate opens in, I think, 35 minutes, 40 minutes. So I need to keep an eye on the time so I can run back to my gate and check in my bags and stuff and move on to the next stage. When I was saying bye to my family, it was a bit of like it was a bit of a teary experience because obviously I'm going away, but then going away on my own and then going away to another country as well. So it was kind of a weird experience and kind of teary-eyed, and I was like saying goodbye to them and trying not to cry. Which is weird, I don't usually cry at these kind of things, but I try not to cry. So now I'm just waiting for my gate to open so I can go check in my bags and go. It doesn't even feel real. It feels kind of like all these days, all the tests, all the paperwork and whatever. It kind of feels weird that it's actually now coming to fruition and that I am actually going. After what, 3 years of me saying I'm gonna go, I'm actually going now. It's kind of weird, but yeah. I'm gonna go chill and then eat and then go. Yay. So I just went through all of the security and all of the baggage stuff and going through all my stuff, and I got frisked. And honestly, it's my fault. I'm wearing trousers that have like metal clips on it, so it's actually my fault. I genuinely forgot that that's a thing, that they want to check for metal, but it's whatever. Yeah, so right now I'm just chilling at my gate. There's literally no one here, like at all. Hopefully like maybe 2 or 3 people show up, and then after that like no one. But yeah, so I'm just chilling here and waiting. There's an excellent view of all the planes coming in and picking up people and going off and whatever. I think I have about 2 hours left until boarding. So I decided to have a photo shoot Please don't judge me. Wow, interesting, amazing, delicious, wow. Anyway, I'll see you when I'm boarding, I guess. Hi guys, Editor T here yet again. So let me just fill in the blanks and explain to you the whole process of going on Korean Air. So getting onto the plane, that was pretty easy. It was simply just getting frisked and all these things that I explained in the video. But when I got on the plane, I'm here thinking, yeah, I know my seat, everything's cool. So I sit down in my seat, and then this random white boy, probably about my age, he accuses me of sitting in his seat, and I'm like, bro, I know, because I spoke to the lady on the phone to double check I got the correct seat days prior, so he was obviously in the wrong. And then he realized and he apologized, and then for the rest of the plane ride I just never acknowledged his presence, because I was like, mate,
you questioned my intelligence.
Therefore I'm not going to speak to you for the rest of the entire plane ride and getting off the plane and everything. So the plane took off, then they started giving out dinner, and for dinner it was either some non-Korean dish or a Korean dish. So I was like, okay, I'm going to Korea, let me have a Korean dish. So I had a Korean dish, and the dish was the bibimbap and some, I think a salad or something. First of all, the only good thing about the bibimbap was the rice that came with it, because the meat itself was cold. It was this ice cold corned beef mince, which I know is not what actual bibimbap is like, but imagine if you had never experienced Korean food and then someone gave you this dry, crusty, damp bibimbap. You'll be like, oh, what is this? Why am I going to Korea? So I just chose to just drink and eat rice. So I basically suffered. And prior to getting on the plane, my cousins had offered to give me a whole bunch of Skittles, and now I regret it. I regret not taking the Skittles, because I could have got on the plane with them and noshed on them for the rest of the plane ride. After dinner, or whatever that happened to be, I slept, because I had not slept for almost 48 hours and I was exhausted. I was exhausted, darling. Exhausted. So I slept for the entire plane ride, and after I wake up with sleep still in my eyes to breakfast. And then for breakfast it was yet again another Korean dish or a non-Korean dish. So I chose the Korean dish. I'm thinking, there's no way they can mess it up 2 times in a row. It's gonna be delicious, it's gonna be amazing. And I hear it's some rice dish, and I'm like, okay, I like rice. So I eat the rice dish, and it's this rice porridge, I think, because I like things. I like things made from rice, but when I eat it, it's bland. And then the flavor packet that you add to it is this savory thing, but it's super salty. I almost threw the entire tray down the aisle. I was so offended. And the guy who I chose to ignore was there eating his nice little hot breakfast and a croissant, and I was like, wow, that really could have been me. I could have been living that life. So when we landed, the air people, I don't know if that's the official title, the air people started telling us to download an app, and I was like, bro, can I clap for the landing? Can I clap? So I had to download this app, which essentially was gonna allow me to be quarantined in Korea. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll start downloading it. So when we got off the plane, instantly we got hit with a whole bunch of Wi-Fi. We're like, okay, cool, download the app. I couldn't take any photos, sadly, but we had to go through this whole section of filling out details and giving our itinerary and our quarantine location and all these documents. I think I landed at around 2 p.m. By the time I actually left the place, it was probably about 4 o'clock, I want to say. So I got through all the queues and all these things with filling out forms. I filled out maybe 10 forms, I think. A funny thing did happen to me though when I was trying to get through the quarantine immigration arrival thing. Basically, I had my hair in a similar fashion. My hair was in very long box braids, and I'm there trying to fill out my forms. I was the last person out of all like the people who had come off the plane to fill out the forms because I was so stressed about getting details wrong, because I was like, I do not want to be deported, so I need to pay attention. So I was filling out the forms super carefully, and I was the last person. And suddenly, as I'm filling out the forms, you know, bent over filling out the forms on the table, I feel the energy of a person, and I'm like, okay, who's behind me? Are they checking to see if I'm stealing, or like if I'm loitering, if I'm planting evidence? Like, why are they here? And it's these two old Korean ladies, and I'm like, okay, cool. They're just probably seeing if I'm okay. And I'm like, all right, cool. Continue writing. And then suddenly, I just feel someone just grip my hair, and I'm like, okay, Tiana, if you do any sudden movements, you're either going to lose your edges or you're going to be deported because they're going to think you're attacking someone. And I looked at her and she's like, oh, your hair is very lovely, oh, lovely. And she was like playing with my hair whilst I'm trying to fill out the form. And I'm looking at her like, miss, I'm trying to leave. It's been not even a day and someone's already touching my hair. Please, miss. And then she could tell that I was kind of like trying to hurry up, so she let go of my hair and I filled out the forms, and then I was able to collect my bags. And then as soon as I had my bags, there was these big like doors, and then I had to walk through them, and then I was outside of arrivals. And that's where you see all the people in the hazmat suits, and they're looking like super clean, and they're spraying people down and making sure people has hand sanitizers and masks on and everything. We had to join a line in order to get like a taxi, because they wanted to basically escort everyone to where they're going to be quarantining, because as some of you guys may know from seeing the news, to enter Korea you have to be quarantined for 2 weeks. And I had already arranged my own quarantine space, because as a student under a student visa, we weren't allowed to use the actual like official government ones, because technically I'm on a long stay in Korea and not like a tourist visa. I got in the line, and in the line, pretty chill, you know, I'm like super aware because I'm seeing Korean words on every single like store and every single sign for the first time in my life. And behind me, I sensed someone kicking off, and I'm like, who could be kicking off at this time of day? Like, why are you about to like fight somebody? And this is big British guy, and he's complaining about how he wants a cigarette and a cup of tea. And I'm like, mate, you can't wait 2 minutes just to get in the line. Like, calm down. And his wife was a Korean lady, and I felt so sorry for her. She must have been so embarrassed. So anyway, the line moves on. I get a taxi. The taxi cost me about 90,000 won, which is a lot of money. But to be honest, it's kind of worth it, because where I was going was quite a long distance away from the airport. But also the driver would have to take me to the local health office of the place I was going to be staying at. So I went there, and at that health place, I had to get another coronavirus test. So at this point, I've had 2 now, because I had one before I could come to Korea in order to get the visa. And now this is my second one. And I'm in the car half asleep, and when we get to the place, I had to queue up again, my like 9th queue, and get a coronavirus test. Fortunately, I knew the word that means you're hurting me or it hurts. So the lady, she told me to open my mouth. I open my mouth, she sticks the thing down my throat, jiggles it around, then she gets another thing and sticks that right up my nose, and her elbow was bent at one point, but then when she got into my nose, it was straight. She went right into the back of my head, the way how it felt, and I was just screaming out. I was like, I could tell she was laughing under her mask, but I was like, appa, basically saying it hurts, and she was like, oh, okay, and then she stopped, and I'm like, did you need to do all that for the test? Because when I did it in London, they just kind of just went, Ew. She fully extended her arm into my nose. Anyway, I got the test. They told me that I would get the results the next day, and I get back into the taxi, and the taxi takes me to my quarantine space, which is the Airbnb. Unfortunately, I didn't get many photos of the Airbnb because I wasn't thinking about taking photos of the Airbnb. But I got like a little video before I left, and it was a nice size. It was literally just like a studio. It had a window, but I never really used it, and it had a flat screen, but I never used it. I just watched stuff on my laptop and chilled and watched stuff on my phone. On the first day, I was so exhausted that I just slept and I didn't eat. I had like 1 bottle of water on me from the airplane, which was perfectly fine. But then the next day, I didn't have any food at all, and I was literally starving myself for maybe like 2 days. Fortunately, my Airbnb host was a nice guy, so when I messaged him and told him that, hey, I'm in quarantine, I can't leave the room, is there any way you can get me groceries? He said, yeah, cool. And he got me a whole bunch of ramen, maybe 30 bottles of water, and a whole bunch of Skittles. And I said, I'm gonna make it last. So I made it last. I still have a whole bunch of ramen like left over. It's in the closet. During those 2 weeks, I drew a lot. I also tried to read and journal as well. I didn't do that much journaling, to be honest, because I had a lot of shows to catch up on. So I just watched a whole bunch of shows as well. And I tried to keep on top of school stuff and organizing my year, because I had to choose my modules and do all the school stuff while stuck in quarantine. Little side note, the quarantine app is so stressful because you have to take your temperature every day, and you have to say like, oh, you have symptoms or you don't have symptoms or whatever. And if you don't, you get like a beep on the phone. The phone just goes and it's like, hey, you need to put something in. I deleted the app after like 16 days, I think. But really, I could have deleted it after 14. After my quarantine was up, the university required me to get another coronavirus test, which was pretty understandable because after 2 weeks, you could still show symptoms. So I got a coronavirus test at the hospital. I forgot the name. I went on the train for the first time. I had to get a T-Money card and put money on it. I've never done that before. So I went to the hospital, and obviously, as expected, there were some xenophobic elderly people who didn't want to sit next to me on the train. Some of the trains were a little bit packed, and I was sitting with like 2 seats on either side of me, and everyone else was packed up in one section. I don't know if that's customary, if they want to fill up every single seat before they start sitting in other carriages, but me, I was sitting in an empty carriage. I wasn't too bothered because in the midst of a pandemic, I don't really want people to be sitting right next to me, rubbing elbows with me, so I was pretty chill with that, to be honest. So after my Airbnb time was up, I had to move into my new student dorms to start my school year. Like, the campus is so nice. I really love how it's like surrounded by nature, and I'm literally like built into a mountain. Like, that's so cool to me. Yeah, the move-in process was fine. I have a roommate. I've never had a roommate before. This is their side of the room. I'm on my side. So now you're basically caught up to the whole move to Korea. I'm here for a year. After that, I'm gone. I'm really excited for this year. I really hope that I have a great time whilst here in Korea, and hopefully the pandemic doesn't affect it too much. But yeah, I guess this is the end. You're all caught up. Oh my gosh, have I finished the Korea vlog? Have I finished it? Yeah, I guess this is it then. So thank you for watching. If you've watched all the way to the ending of this video, I'm sorry it took me so long to post this, but I've just been dealing with a whole bunch of like logistical and admin related things, just trying to get my papers and my documents correct and making sure that everything is good. Because imagine if I had been planning to move to Korea to then be deported, that would have been not funny. So yeah, if you would like to see more videos from me, please subscribe and make sure to tell your friends that I've posted, because we're trying to create community here. I'm going to try and build this community if I can. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a great whatever time period it is. It's very nice to be back, essentially. If you have any video ideas or anything that you want to see on this channel, literally I'm so open to anything. Let me know in the comments. But I guess I will see you in the next video, because this is the ending. Oh my gosh, we're at the ending of this video. Wow. Bye. What was that? I'm screaming.